Hey everybody, this is Lisa and Nancy of Big Blend Radio, and we are having an awesome time. We are at this Church Street Cafe. Did I get that right?
Yes, Church Street Cafe.
All right, we just got to Albuquerque. We checked into the Bodger Mansion. Did I pronounce that right? I keep saying the Bodger Mansion, which is beautiful, by the way, and I know that this is airing on our show live from the Bodger Mansion, but we are at Church Street Cafe right in the heart of Old Town in Albuquerque. It's our first time to Albuquerque. It's our first meal in Albuquerque, and Brenna sent us here, and I'm so glad. Nancy, we're having a good time with margaritas.
Yes, and it was an awesome meal.
Yeah, we had nachos. We were just like, we saw nachos. We're like, let's just We sat outside at the fountain, and then when we walked in, though, your host said, well, this is one of these oldest houses here, and blah, blah, blah. And we're like, well, we got to meet the owner, and luckily you were here. So we're sitting with Marie Coleman, and she is the owner, and you've been doing this since 1993?
1993.
Wow.
It opened in 93.
Wow. So
February, actually.
February, oh wow, see? So what led you to open a restaurant and then also take on a building? It's an adobe building, right?
It's an adobe building.
From the 1700s.
Right, yeah. I fell in love with the building.
Yeah, I can see why.
And it was, I was actually taking a break from school, and I was walking down the street here in Old Town, just trying to clear my head, and I saw an old building. And this building was actually just melting into the ground. The last resident had passed away. Her name was Ruiz. And it just drew me in. And I just looked at it, and I noticed the walls were kind of crumbling. They had some 2x4s holding up the ceiling. And it had a for sale sign on it. But I just kind of put it in the back of my head and went back to school. And, and then I was talking to my mother. And she just passed away recently, but she was very optimistic, just really encouraged me to do whatever. And I was telling her about this old house that I saw here in Old Town Albuquerque, and I told her about it, and I told her about it was crumbling and everything else. And she said, well, why don't you just call the realtor, his name was Park Shaw, and just ask him to see it. Can't hurt to see it. And I thought,
I like your mom.
And so I thought, okay, why not?
Yeah, why not?
So I called and I said, hi, Park, this is Marie. I would love to see the house that's on Church Street. So he said, okay, so I'll meet you at this time. And we opened the back door with the padlock, and we pushed away all the spider webs.
Oh my gosh.
And we walked through, and it was fascinating to me. It was I just loved it. And then we left, and he told me how much he wanted for it, or how much the family wanted for it. And I thought, I can't do that. I'm in school, and I probably won't be able to do that. But thank you for showing me, right? And so I left. And then I was telling my mom about it again, and I told her about the spider webs and how cool it was. And she goes, and how much did they want for it? And I told her, and she goes, She goes, think of a ridiculous number in your head. And then just call him up and make an offer.
Wow.
And again, she's my mom. And she's just, and I just thought, well, okay. I think they can only say no, right?
Sounds familiar, right, Nancy?
And so then I did. I called him up, and I offered half of what they were asking. And then on the top of it, I thought and I need a real estate contract. And so I just left it at that. And Park said, well, he goes, Marie, I don't really think that they'll accept it. He said, I'll pass the offer on, and I'll call you tomorrow at about noon, or you can call me, because I was going to be out of town. I was heading towards Denver, and with my aunt. And so, anyway, I said, okay. So, off to Denver. I packed up all of the my aunt sold Indian art. So I packed up all the Indian art with her, and I was heading to Denver to help her sell at the market there. And we stopped for gas, and it was about noon. And I said, I have to make a phone call, Auntie. Back then you didn't have cell phones.
You went to one of those things in a payphone. Oh my gosh! And you have to sit there and figure out how many quarters for the minute.
Yeah, and then dial it. The whole thing.
I love it.
The whole thing. And so then I called, and he answered, and he goes, congratulations, you just bought a house in Old Town.
Oh no!
And I just almost dropped the phone.
I know, it's like because it'll swing.
I didn't expect to. I was just blown away. And I really thought they'd say no. And so I hung up the phone, and I went back and sat in the car. And my aunt looks at me and she goes, "Well, what was that all about?" And so I told her. I said, "There's a house in Old Town, and I made an offer on it, and they accepted." And she goes, "Where?" I'm sure. And then she knew Old Town pretty well, and when I told her, she just went livid. She's just the opposite from my mother. You got to understand. And so she just laid into me. You should not be doing this.
Yeah. Put yourself in over your head, because all the construction and how much money,
everything that was going to happen, And she just went through it, and she was just so angry with me until we got to Denver, and I was just about in tears. And I thought, well, I really blew it, And so back, I called my mom back, when I get home, and she said, "Oh, don't worry about it." She goes, "We'll figure it out."
I love that.
And she said, "Let's call Charlie. He's an old friend of the family." And I think I got a picture of him here somewhere. But he was an old curandero, which is a healer.
Yeah.
And he was also a very, very good with adobe. He was an adobe man and a contractor. And he was a little Mexican man, wore his hat like over his eyes.
Cool.
And I called him and I told him what happened and what I did. And he goes, He goes, I'll be in Albuquerque. Just meet me over there and we'll take a look at it. So I met him back here. I unlocked it, pushed the spider webs away.
By the way, there's no spiders here now. I just want everyone to know it's all fine.
It's good now.
It's all good.
It's all good. And we walked through it, and he looked at me and he didn't say anything, I thought, So he didn't say anything. We walked through the house and then we locked it up. And then he looked at me and he goes, "How bad do you want this?" And I said, "I really, really like it, Charlie. I really want to restore it. It means a lot to me." And he goes, "Okay, then you're here at 8 o'clock every morning."
Oh.
He said, "I'll have a list ready for you.
Oh.
Who you need to talk to, what you need to pick up that day." And he goes, "And I'll stay here and run the crew." And that's how we did it.
Wow. So did you get your hands dirty on the adobe or something?
I backed up cement trucks. I laid adobe. I shoveled dirt off the roof.
Good for you.
And I did it all with him, And so when we were getting to the point where we were finishing it up, my aunt, my Aunt Raina, my mother's sister, walked through. And I didn't know that I was wanting to do a restaurant or anything. I just loved the house, And so she walked through and she looks at me and she goes, "This is a restaurant. And this is where you're going to put the kitchen." And she said,
Wow.
"And I'll help you set up the menu and hire the people that you need to hire." And I said, "Okay."
Wow.
I thought, I need to pay for it. And if she's going to help me, then I'm
Wow. Well, yeah. So this is amazing. So this house. Wow.
Yeah.
So, but this is 1700s.
Yeah.
This isn't. You think about when you got in the 90s. So like that's what over.
It wasn't old.
They're over 30. Oh,
You can kind of see
93.
how it kind of shapes.
It's 30 years because that's when my year I graduated high school.
Really?
Yes.
Yeah.
I shouldn't tell anybody that, but it's true.
Yeah.
Too late now.
But you think about 30 years ago, but then you think about this history of this house, the 1700s. So there was the Ruiz family. Were they all? Was that the original family?
Original family. The last resident passed away. Her name was Rufinia Ruiz.
I love that name.
And anyway, then the family decided to sell it because it was in bad shape. And they were part of the family was in Oklahoma, part of the family was in California, and so that was the reason they decided to sell. And they became really good friends of mine too over the years. I mean, they gave me pictures.
Yeah, that's how you have everyone. The family.
They come in to visit me, you know.
Wow.
Yeah,
But it's special what you
They left like the trunk I showed.
Yeah, you got the trunk.
An old trastero that's back there that I put the dishes in and stuff. That's all theirs, and they felt like it belonged in the house. And
well, your family photo, I think, is really important too. The family photos you have, and so your family coming from Cuba. I would say Cuba. I'll go right into Cuba land, but we got lost out there when we were in Chaco area, and that's a special region. So I mean, your family really does. Those photos go back.
We have roots here.
Yeah,
you do.
It's all connected. The whole region.
In Cuba, New Mexico. Yeah. So
Wow.
It. That's all my mother's family and my.
That's so cool.
So
And then I think what's special is the fact that you have a restaurant keeps it a home.
Right.
Yes, it's very much a home.
Because people are here. It's welcoming. You go in, as we walk in, I'm like, well, this is not a typical Mexican restaurant. You know what I mean? It's something special. We already knew, and then as we were walking through it, we just came through the front. We didn't know, the whole COVID thing. Or you are eating outside, and they're like, no, that's not our patio. I'm like, no, the patio's in the back, and I'm like, what? He goes, no, this is the seating when there's,
People wait out here.
I know, and I'm thinking,
to go to the patio.
I did not know how big it was. We're like walking, and you have all these different rooms. I mean, it's beautiful.
It's a big house.
Yeah, you got a beautiful fountain outside, and it's just you can safely dine here. The menu I wanted to touch on too, because you've got some traditional New Mexican food on there too.
Yes.
There's things that you don't see like in Arizona, like the Navajo taco. Or maybe when you get to northern Arizona, you may see it.
Well, our chilies are done a lot differently too. Here in New Mexico, we do our red chili and our green chili, and it's like a big gem, a big green chili. And when it ripens, it becomes red. And when we take the red, we actually put it on re-stress, or we dry it out on the, out on a screen, and we make the red. We kind of blend it, and we make the red like sauce like that. The green, we actually roast it, and then we peel it, and then we do the green sauce that way. So our sauces are done different than anywhere else. You won't find this in Texas or even Arizona. This is kind of like New Mexican tradition of our red and green.
On your menu, what would you say? Someone coming in saying, I want a taste of Albuquerque, what would you recommend they try?
It depends. Some people like heat and some people don't. So I always tell them to get like the combination plate or something like that, and where you can put the chili on the side, you can taste an enchilada, a relleno, and a tamale, and then just kind of flavor it to taste. But if people already love chili, they just want it smothered. They just want it smothered, And a thing that we do here in New Mexico too that's different than any other place is sopapillas. I don't know if you got yours yet. Did you get some?
No.
I'm going to definitely get you some. It's a bread that we fry, and it puffs up, and you put honey in it. And they usually bring it at the end of the meal. It's usually supposed to be served with the meal, but some people like it at the end of the meal because it's with the honey and stuff. It's almost like a dessert.
Oh, nice.
And it's very, very tasty, and they come out hot and ready to go. I'll get you those before you leave.
I wanted to ask, the beans to me in New Mexico, we just kind of got here, seem bigger and different. They're not even like pinto beans to me.
They're grown here. In New
So they're
Mexico.
okay. So this is a different because they're different.
Yeah, they're grown here in New Mexico. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Okay. Because they
you
are
can
bigger
buy-
than regular.
You can buy bags of them, at some of the farmers markets and stuff. But yes, one of our crops here in New Mexico is actually the pinto bean.
But they're not this like you go to Arizona or California and they're like
They're different. In fact,
They're
in Arizona, and what they call a pinto bean, it's almost striped.
oh really?
Yeah. You don't have to, isn't it like white
that could be
tan
the
and-
more. No, I think that's more Anasazi. No, I'm thinking the Anasazi things.
I think a lot of places
And
serve like a
zucchini.
black bean. I've seen a lot of
Refried
those.
beans, black
refried
beans.
black beans.
But I haven't had the beans like here. I'm like, okay, these are different. These are big. These are some big boys.
yeah,
Yeah. But it's a little different, and even having chicken. We had nachos. We were just eating nachos together, and it was like what we were craving. We're like, ooh,
Yeah.
we've been in the east. Listen, we've been on the east for a long time, and now we're back in the west. And there's just like some favorites. Like it's for her, she's like. To me, like if I wake up in the morning, like if I could have a really good chili chilaquiles, I am the happiest person for a full month. Hers, she's an enchiladas, but nachos, we're like,
Enchiladas.
we haven't had a good plate of nachos for a year,
Yeah.
maybe 2 years. And I wondered, I'm sure so many people are feeling this way coming out of COVID thing, that they are craving
food.
Yeah.
Exactly. And we're like nachos, we're outside, and it was the patio.
Mom's cooking.
I know, it's like you don't want mine, especially now that we barely cook anywhere. We're sitting outside. I'm like, oh my god, there's a fountain. We're having there's cats. We're having nachos. There's cats out there.
Oh, we're like, this is so
but it was
cool.
different, and even the way the chicken is, it's not like other nachos. It's like it's kind of shredded. I don't even think we've ever been asked if we wanted chicken with the nachos. I know we're talking like more of a starter thing, but it's normally ground beef, and it's totally different.
Different, yeah.
So I'm really glad we did it because it was good. But your menu is good. I mean, I was looking at this going, okay, but
And we do some other dishes that are kind of different that are just New Mexican, with a little bit of native flair. The calabasitas, which is squash and corn and a little bit of green chili. We do quelites, which is spinach, but it has a little bit of chili piquin in it, so it has like a little spice to it, I guess.
Yeah.
A little zest to it. And you won't see that on a lot of menus.
I've never heard
But
of it.
northern New Mexico, we're known for, just different things like quelites and
It's so good. Yeah, the squash.
it's just kind of a staple in the home.
And what about pozole? That's something. I remember having that.
Pozole, yes, we serve it here all the time, but it's
Okay.
actually a Christmas tradition.
Oh, okay.
Actually, most Spanish families make pozole for Christmas. And actually, after you go to midnight mass, you come home and there's a bowl of pozole. You open your presents. And
Oh, I love pozole. And tamales, isn't that also Christmas?
That's also
What is Christmas like here? It's got to be beautiful in Old
it's
Town.
beautiful. Yeah, it is. We have a lot of neat traditions like luminarias. We put out the bags with the little candles.
That's
that
beautiful.
Light the way for Jesus, and it's really special to see.
Do you get a little bit of snow with the luminarias?
Sometimes we.
That's magic right there. That is magic. That is awesome. This is so cool. And you're right off of Route 66 as well, Old
That's
Town.
so cool too.
So Old Town's got like a gazillion galleries and stores, and
Yeah.
So
just
this is
all
a-
kinds of nice places to visit. And
beautiful.
wander in and out of.
What's your website for everyone to know?
It's www.churchstreetcafe.com.
It's pretty simple. You got to all come down here.
Everything is spelled out. So
Yeah, and you're open every day?
I'm open every day.
Get your butts here. Get them out. Come on.
Don't write it.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
I'm so glad we got to meet you. Nancy's like,
you.
we got to go meet the
Glad to meet you
owner.
too.
Yeah.
And it's like been like, wow, how cool.
Well, it's special for
This
me.
is
to meet
really
you, too.
cool.
I love seeing a mother and daughter team.
Well, you definitely had a mom-daughter team too, huh?
Yeah, she's the reason I'm here.
Yeah, well, Nancy always tells me too, don't
That's
question,
like
just do.
Yeah.
Get off your butt and do it.
Exactly.